call the regular meeting of the Rocky Ford City Council to order. Michelle, will you do our roll call, please?
McMurray,
Here.
Barone,
Here.
Martinez,
Here.
Mosby, here, Roberts, here, Mullins,
Here.
Mayor Gudeleg.
Here. You'll all rise. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nicole, will you read our mission statement, please?
To improve the quality of life in the city of Rocky Ford, making it a great place to live and work while strengthening relationships and creating pride in the community.
Thank you. We'll move on to our first public comment. If anyone would like to address council, any items not on the agenda, please come up to the front. Alright, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda. The items on tonight's consent agenda are the approval of council meeting minutes from October 14th regular meeting. Look for a motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Give that second to Councilman Barone. Call the vote.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Mayor Gudeleg.
Yes. Consent agenda items are approved. We'll look for approval of tonight's agenda. There's no changes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a second from Martinez. Call that vote.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Mayor Gudeleg.
Yes. Get started with our proclamation that we have tonight. I'll pass this one over to Councilman Martinez. If you want to kick us off with this and read through the proclamation.
Yes, sir. So I kind of stole a little bit out of the Congress's playbook. They actually established this in 2019, I believe. So I thought, we've wasted this much time and not honoring you guys for doing what you do. So I just wanted to make sure that we're doing it here, and it happened to coincide with the day we're at council already. So, honoring First Responders Day. Whereas first responders in Rocky Ford and across the nation include dedicated professional and volunteer firefighters, law enforcement officers, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, dispatchers, and others who are first to arrive and assist during emergencies, often placing themselves in harm's way to protect others. And whereas these brave individuals are a vital part of our community's safety and well-being, responding to natural disasters, medical emergencies, fires, accidents, and other critical incidents with skill, courage, and compassion. And whereas first responders are on the front lines every day, serving with integrity, commitment, and a deep sense of duty, often with little recognition and great personal sacrifice. And whereas the city of Rocky Ford is proud to recognize the estimated millions of first responders across the country, and especially those who serve our local community, as true heroes who exemplify public service at its highest level. Whereas October 28th is an appropriate day to honor and express our deep gratitude to all first responders for their unwavering service and dedication. Now therefore, we, the City Council of the City of Rocky Ford, Colorado, do hereby proclaim October 28th as First Responders Day in the City of Rocky Ford, and urge all residents to recognize and honor the courage, commitment, and service of our local first responders through appropriate expressions of appreciation and community support. Just thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have the proclamation if we want to have Chief
Come on up,
Gonzalez,
folks.
Chief Wallace, and June come up to present it to them.
And I think also anyone from your team that's in attendance as well. I know JR would love to get a photo with everyone.
Get a good picture. Finish
Stand around here. And the council's trained to stand up so we can see that.
Kind of like monkeys and trainers for you.
It's too crowded up there. Anyway. All right, well, I'll sit down.
People off there. Did you get what you need, Adrian?
Almost. Can you guys smile for me in 1, 2, 3? Beautiful. Thank you guys.
Thank you all, and thank you all for what you do. Thank you all for what you do.
Councilman Martinez, Mobley, Mosby, and Mullins up. I'm sorry, Nanette, I'm bad with names. Used to be a problem over there that was a Mobley.
Yes, and thank you to all of our first responders. I know we do recognize the different departments with individual days, but I think this one's equally, if not more important, to be able to recognize that, I think that full team response. We know that on a single call, there are multiple departments that are involved in that interaction. So I think this one really speaks to that teamwork and that collaborative aspect of what you all do together. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our old business. Under 10.1, we have the purchase order submitted by Chief Gonzalez for bunker gear. This was tabled from the last meeting. I don't know if we want to start with any discussion or if we'd like Chief to present. I don't know if there were follow-up questions from the last meeting.
I know a lot of what I've got to say can probably answer
I was going to say
a lot of your questions.
We should hear from Chief,
That'd be a great start.
since he probably has the information that we're asking for.
Thank you, Council. Just wanted to come in front of you today. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was the issue regarding this PO and the purchase of the personal protective equipment for our volunteers through the SAFER grant. There were some questions involving the volunteers and something related to the fact that the volunteers were their own entity or they act on their own behalf, especially when it comes to PPE. And I wanted to clarify that with the council because any grant that is used through city council, the rural fire protection district, anything that's related to fire suppression purposes, all that equipment remains with that entity. So whoever purchases that, that belongs to them. It doesn't go to the individual volunteers. It doesn't stay with the volunteers. It becomes city property. The PPE purchase was authorized on June 25th. And the reason why it was authorized not using the purchasing policy is because I was under the impression that grant purchasing doesn't fall under the purchasing policy. I had that conversation with Stacy on the reason why I chose what I did. That was one of the reasons, is that the grant purchasing is not mentioned whatsoever in the purchasing policy. So there's no direction in the purchasing policy related to grant purchasing. Grant purchasing, especially through this grant, they have their own requirements, their own set of rules that must be applied to be able to get reimbursement. And I'm going to give you an example. Is the purchasing policy requires a bidding process, right? We can't do a bidding process for the PPE that we use because it becomes a safety factor. We use a specific set of PPE, a specific brand that is uniformed across the entire department. That bunker gear is sold by one vendor only. So that vendor was what was used to purchase this PPE. Also, the vendor that sells the PPE said that if we don't purchase these products by July 1st, we will be seeing a price increase. And I knew that the grant only paid a portion of the PPE. So I told him, you know what, so we're not paying that extra 8 to 10% for the price of the PPE. Go ahead and order. Because we don't want to pay that extra amount that would have to be paid for, and we would have an additional match on our requirement as the city. So that's why I chose to order it at that time, because they were announcing that they were going to increase the price. Also, I chose the capital expenditure line item. The reason why I chose this capital expenditure line item, I know it wasn't a budgeted item. I know it wasn't a budgeted line. The reason why I chose that is because I wanted to make it a simple process for grant reporting. Because the purchase of this invoice would be the only thing in that line item. They wouldn't be sharing with other purchases in a different line item, like Stacy was trying to say that she thought it would be more appropriate to put into PPE in the fire budget. Well, in the fire budget, PPE has other purchases as well. And it makes it hard to navigate through for those that are auditing the grant. So that's why I chose the capital purchase, because it would only have that one thing. And it was just an easy part of the grant reporting, and they wouldn't have any questions whatsoever as to why or what was on that line item. That's why that line item was chosen. The SAFER grant requires that you receive the product, and it must be delivered and at the station before you can be reimbursed. So that's a requirement of the grant. They won't reimburse you and then you get it later. The product has to be received and has to be in our hands at the station before you can be reimbursed. Again, the volunteers are not their own department. That's a misconception. They don't operate individually as their own individuals. They actually are employees of the city. They are paid by the city. So they are city employees. So there's really, I know there was you that mentioned something about doing a grant, or an agreement. There's no agreement necessary because they're employees of the city. We are required to provide safety equipment for our employees, full-time and volunteers. So I wanted to clear that up, that's a misinterpretation of the volunteers. Now, I know you said, Nick, that you had talked with a couple of volunteer fire departments. Can I ask you which ones you spoke with?
I don't think that's relevant.
It is relevant because the reason why I ask is because all departments are organized and set up differently. We are not 100% volunteer fire department that relies on funds, specifically from a mill levy or a fundraising effort. So our entity is different than anybody else's throughout the valley because we have what's called a combination department. We are a combination fire department, which means that we both have volunteer and we have paid staff. So it makes it different, and that's what makes it relevant, is because our dynamics are different than in other departments. The volunteers don't receive PPE that they get to keep. I think every volunteer will tell you that even with volunteers that have resigned, when they resign, their equipment stays with us. Everything that was issued to them stays with us. It does not stay with the volunteer. So it does not become their own personal equipment that they get to keep. The FY Hawk Hose Company. Does everybody know what the FY Hawk Hose Company is? Does anybody know why we have a non-profit named FY Hawk Hose Company? And that's FYHAUCK.
Been around for years, if I recall. Johanna having it years ago, being part of it.
John Fisher Hose Company.
John Fisher, there you go, yeah.
That was the original name of the Lahana Fire Department. The FY Hawk Hose Company was the original name of the Rocky Ford Fire Department when they first established a fire department for the city of Rocky Ford. That's what it was named. All comprised of volunteers. We were asked to create our own account as volunteers because we had a checking account with the city of Rocky Ford. And that checking account was used to disperse payments for the volunteers that participated in ambulance calls. And I was getting dry, so bear with me. So with the ambulance calls, they were being reimbursed for each call that they took. That amount that was given to that volunteer was paid for out of that account. Well, that account was actually under the city of Rocky Ford, it's tax ID. The auditors were the ones that made the recommendation. Look, you guys should probably go ahead and start looking at not using the city's tax ID number, because this is probably not the way you should be doing it. This is back in 2016, 2017 when this happened. So it was discussed to go ahead and come up with a way to create an account. Well, you guys know with the bank, what do you need to create an account? A tax ID, right? So we thought, well, let's use the FY Hawk Hose Company. So that's what we did. We created the FY Hawk Hose Company 501c3 to help us with the disbursements, so it doesn't involve using the city's general fund tax ID number. So it became its own tax ID number. That account is what's used to provide payments to the volunteers for the amount of services that they do that are paid services. Riding on the ambulance to the hospital and back, that's a paid service that we give the volunteer. Because it's really hard to get ambulance call participation. So we pay for that because ambulance calls are hard to get participation because we have them a lot. So it makes it harder. So the incentive is you participate on these calls, you get paid for it. So that's the incentive to the volunteers. There was a question as far as if we were to pay for this, what does the reimbursement look like? As soon as we get the reimbursement documentation validated, that means paid invoice, zeroed out balance, the check cleared, copies of the check clearing. Once those are in place, it's a 30-day reimbursement process, as soon as that's received. And our, like I said, I wanted to say that the volunteers own zero equipment that's purchased by the city of Louisville. I mentioned that there's no agreement necessary, and the timeline for payment is not geared towards the grant. I think you mentioned something about what's the timeline we're looking for. Does this have to be paid now? Well, when we order and we receive it and we're already using the product, that's a vendor timeline. So we're under the vendor requirement that is a 30-day payable. And that's why I was really wanting to push the emergency meeting to cover this, to make sure that we get this taken care of as soon as possible. So we don't get late charges and we don't get additional charges added to this when we're trying to minimize the impact to the general public. Each piece of PPE that we've got here typically runs about $4,955 per volunteer if we were to pay for it out of pocket. This grant allows us to only pay $212 per set of PPE. Is our only requirement for the 6 cents. You guys can do the math. It's a huge benefit. This is a win for not only the general fund, but for our volunteers as well. I just wanted to clear up any misconception. I have documentation here, which I've given Stacy copies of, that says what's reimbursed, what's required, and the reimbursement requirements that also state that all PPE paid for with these grant funds must be delivered to the department. So we can't even request the reimbursement until we receive the product and put them to use. So I hope that helps with a lot of the questions. If there's any follow-up questions, yeah, let me know.
I got several. First of all, now you're saying when and if the employees that receive this PPE leave the equipment stays with the city.
Correct.
Okay. Reimbursement. Now, it was discussed last time. I mean, we were blindsided. I was blindsided by this here. I knew nothing about this until the last meeting. The reimbursement now, somebody said that the reimbursement will go back to the employee
No,
and not the city.
that's not true.
So the city gets all reimbursements.
Yeah. The city gets all the reimbursement.
That
So,
was the
I'm gonna tell you right now,
time there was a recommendation for inside of agreement, was that
That was
we
the
were under the
example we
impression
saw.
that it went to
No.
the check for reimbursement went to the volunteer, not to the
No.
department or the city.
it goes to the Rocky Ford Fire Department.
Then my suggestion is null and void. Not needed at that point. It was- that
Okay,
was my-
let's stick to Robert's question.
I also-
Let me know if anyone has questions.
Alrighty, so then the reimbursement will come back to the city. City will own everything if the employees leave. City's gonna be responsible for 212 times 6. So roughly gonna be 1,300.
Well, then we also have additional volunteers. So as volunteers join the department as part of the grant, you get also the PPE cover for the volunteers that you pick up under the recruitment and retention process. So we also have, I believe, 2 other volunteers that are going through the process right now. They haven't went through the onboarding process, completed it yet. But if they do complete the onboarding process and you have to order them gear, we got 2 more sets of gear that we've got to order for.
Other questions? I guess the only thing was I would ask, like I said, I feel like the council probably would agree with me, we're blindsided on this here. You're saying because it was a grant, it's under the 5,000 purchasing doesn't fall in on this?
No, I said that the grant, I feel, should be included into the purchasing policy. So we're provided instruction on what we should do during the purchasing policy and if there's a grant purchase required. Because with the grant purchase, it's specific to what you can do and what you can't do. It's specific to the guidelines of the grant. So you can't go and, like I said, when I mentioned the bidding process, and go out and bid for Florida and Canada, and then we got a Colorado company here that sells the same product. Like, I'm not going to go with Canada or Florida for their product, especially if it's more. I'm going to go with Colorado's product.
And, I mean, I'm not hashing that, I actually keep it local, perfectly fine with me. But for me, out of the total 24,000, just under 24,000, city's only gonna be about 1,300 bill. But still, for me, with the purchasing agreement that we have here, the grant's covering almost all of it.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice if the city council's included in these purchases before and not after.
And that's my fault, because I interpreted the purchasing policy and grant purchases as separate, because grants fall under different guidelines than the purchasing policy. It's not a regular purchase. It's specific to the grant. There's a
Well, for
reason
the
why.
transparency part, I mean, you can probably totally 100% correct on what you just said, but just for our end to know what's going on,
Yeah.
on how things are being done, I feel we should, at least be informed of what's gonna be.
And I understand where you're coming from. You also have to understand that in the business we're in, we get 1,000 interruptions. And with the staffing patterns that I was originally wanting for the fire department, that didn't happen, I was also having to cover shifts. I was dealing with personnel issues. I was also doing assignments, running on assignments, things like that. So things were getting missed because I was busy trying to keep the fire department afloat. And the best I could do is apologize for that. But that's the business we're in, is when we're doing more with less, things will get missed.
I understand all that. Who's number 2? You got some shoes to fill whenever he's gone. Might want to be up on all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion. This.
I'd say if I was running it, it'd have been the same way. We do what we can, and especially with it being a grant that's time sensitive, I think the misconception is we're up against the purchasing through a vendor, not the grant. I think that's what was focused on, was the grant paying it out, but we need to be focused at the vendor timeline is what we're up against. So this is huge. We need to make sure that PP is covered, especially for new volunteers. And when they're coming in, as they're continuing to, that's a big plus, right? We're getting more responders, we're getting them trained where they need to be, but to get them to respond in the manner we need them to, they need proper PPE, and we can't get it without things like this.
And I totally agree. I got all the respect for you, all of you, everybody here sitting in here tonight. Total respect for all of you for what you all do. The questions I'm asking, I feel I have to ask for the citizens. So nothing personal, nothing going there.
Yeah.
But total respect on, for me to you guys. But, keep us informed. That's all for me. Thank you.
And I do want to add that I did give Stacy some heads up. Said, hey, we're going to have a large transaction probably coming through regarding the SAFER grant and volunteers and some gear. I just didn't know what it was at the time because I didn't know what volunteers were going to clear up on their onboarding process. I just knew that there was a lot coming through. When I submitted the documentation, is when I had time to get it. And I apologize that it exceeded and you guys didn't get that heads up. It wasn't anything intentional. It wasn't anything shady. It was just, man, we've got a lot going on. Trying to keep the department going with the staffing patterns that we've been dealt with. It's hard. It's not easy.
Completely sympathize with that and understand stretch time schedules, right? I think everybody probably faces that to some degree. And to Robert's point, yeah, the issue that I think that we're having is that there is that purchase policy, and we're here now being asked to approve something that's already purchased. So it's kind of like we don't really have a choice. We're about to vote on something. I understand that there was stuff that was getting in the way of that. I appreciate that mistakes happen, but to this point, has that policy kind of been cleared up? Does it look like this isn't something we foresee
It has,
happening in the
but
future?
I do make a strong recommendation to include the requirements of grant purchases and the requirements that the council wants to set forth, and whether or not they think that grant purchases are different than the regular purchases through the purchasing policy. That should be articulated in the purchasing policy.
Yeah, if we can make that clarification. We do deal with grants, dozens of them a year, all the nonprofits and everything. So that kind of has been the standard operating procedure for that. That's all I have.
Any other follow-up questions on that? Nick?
So I know you spoke to a bid process in our purchasing policy. There isn't one. What was said last week about requiring 3 bids is incorrect. That's not part of it.
Over a
What?
certain threshold it is.
Well,
Over a certain dollar amount, it is.
Say 20,000.
see, here's my issue. You just a few minutes ago said that you authorized this June 25th. We didn't know anything about it until September. I understand tight schedules. I understand being busy. But 2.5 months before it comes to your boss is just out of line and uncalled for. If I had done that, if I called the bank and they said, oh yeah, I forgot to pay my mortgage 2.5 months, they'd have me under foreclosure. I would never get away with that in any other aspect of the world. Would I get away with that timeline? You talk about, I thank you for clearing up where the bunker gear stays. I have a question on that then. If we keep that gear, which is great, I love to hear that, why are we buying new gear for new volunteers? Don't we have a positive gear somewhere?
How many want to chime in on that one?
Well, if we don't, then we're not keeping it.
That gear's only good for 10 years. After 10 years, if we get hurt in that gear, there's lawsuits happening, big time.
So you're telling me we have a closet somewhere of 10-year-old gear?
Yes, and
Yes.
actually it's expiring, which is the importance of actually having to replace that gear, especially with new volunteers coming in. We're having to replace that gear, and there's a cost associated with it. And that's where these grants help reduce that cost.
And I love grants, but this is where we have a communication breakdown. Is if we don't hear these things from you, if you're not coming in here and saying, hey, this is the reason we need to do this, we don't know. So we, as the 7 of us, listen to the citizens because that's our job. And when they're upset going, hey, this is what's going on, we have to listen to their questions. We have to bring them to you. We're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to talk down to any of y'all. Like I said earlier, you guys are heroes here in our city, and we love y'all. But we also have to answer the
Don't be
citizens.
condescending, please.
I'm not being condescending.
You are.
I'm not here to fight with you, Ray.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not.
I got one more thing.
Well, then I don't have anything else to say if he's not going to speak to me. I would like to vote no.
You're entitled to what you need to say, and I'm entitled to what I need to say. And
I'm not going to argue.
You're speaking on behalf of Nick. You're not speaking on behalf of the city of Rocky Ford or our volunteers.
You want the comments off the Facebook page? I'm speaking for the citizens.
All right, well, yeah, I don't know if anyone has anything else to add.
Yeah, I do. You guys mentioned that you have this old gear, this 10-year-old stuff that needs to get replaced, so I understand that. I mean, obviously that couldn't have waited much longer, but you probably knew that you needed to replace that gear a long time ago, right? Did
And
you go to?
I have
guess-
other plans to use the grant to replace that. It's just, it's gonna have to be at a larger dollar amount.
Yeah.
And after seeing the state of where we're at with our budgets, I've been putting that aside for now. Because I know that the upfront cost is gonna be significant before we
Okay.
receive that reimbursement. If we don't have those upfront costs, then it's gonna make it harder for the general fund.
The question that people have asked me is, are you just circumventing the process? Because did you ever go to Stacy and ask for this money and get told that you needed to bring it to council?
I did bring it before council on October of 2024.
Nice to hear. For this same gear? And
For the
then-
grant, the entire grant. The grant is a regional grant, and it involves multiple entities and agencies, including the Rural Fire Protection District. So some of you may not know that the Rural Fire Protection District is in charge of providing equipment, which is like vehicle equipment, operational equipment, access, things like that.
Okay.
The City of Rocky Ford provides personnel, paid and volunteers. So that is the responsibility of the City of Rocky Ford. So with the two entities together, that's what makes us able to provide a fire suppression department.
Okay, but did Stacy tell you you needed to bring this to council, and then you used smaller amounts instead of the whole 23,000 in numerous pieces so that it would be under the wire?
Typically, I've never
Did
really,
that happen at all?
I've never really consulted or contacted. Once the grant's been uncontested and no objections to the grant, we operate and run the grant as it takes fruition. And we give them heads up as we do that with our
Okay.
grant.
All right, I mean, everything has a policy and a procedure, and so my main concern was, did we follow it? Because just like what Barone said, I don't remember hearing anything about this until just recently. It's like, well, we got to hurry up and approve this because it's already been got. And some people kind of look at it like, not to be condescending or disrespectful to anybody, but it's like a child that goes to the grocery store with the mom and then takes the candy bar and eats it and hands her the empty wrapper and says, "Can you bought this for me?" at the register. And
I
then now you
apologize,
guys
that's the
have-
impression you got.
You guys have the gear, and then you're asking us for the approval on it after it's already been had, and we didn't hear about it until months later. So I don't have any animosity towards you guys. You guys are my heroes. I wanted to be a fireman when I grew up. It didn't happen, but I appreciate you guys. But we do have policies, and I want to make sure that we're following.
Here's a quick question. Has this been reimbursed already?
No, we can't get reimbursed until we pay for it.
Okay, so it has not been paid for yet.
We have to approve it.
Just wanted to make sure that was okay.
For us to get the reimbursement.
I'd like to ask, I mean, you had a couple hands raised up. You guys got something to say? I'd like to hear what you got to say.
Come on up.
I had raised my hand, but I think at this point we're beating the drum on transparency. I think there's been some disconnect. Issues did happen. What we're dealt with is we don't know how many new volunteers we're going to get, right? There's a guesstimate. Sure, we'd love to say 10. It may be 1, it may be 20. We don't know, right? We understand, hindsight's 20/20, that there should have been better communication. Where we're at right now is to keep these volunteers on our roster, being useful to the city of Rocky Ford. They have to have this gear. Not only responding to calls, but training. We can't even get them the ball rolling without this gear. We can't train without it. They can't understand the job without it. We need that. The other thing that needs clarification is we share an FDID number, the city of Rocky Ford, with the Rural Fire Protection District. Chief brought up that the rural board has the equipment, the city has the personnel. We can't do the job without both, right? And the rural definitely does their job of providing a fair set of gear. This is not once in a lifetime, but this is a rare opportunity that we have to capitalize on. We have to keep the PPE going. Because the reality is, if there's an injury in the field and this is not new gear, it's not in spec, there's going to be bigger issues beyond the person being injured, right? The other thing we need to keep in mind, we said the 10-year deal. That's in perfect conditions, not training, not using it. This gear does not last 10 years. I'm hoping to get 4 out of mine. That's the nature of the business. So if we don't keep this ball rolling and keeping fresh, good, proper PPE on our responders, then our numbers are going to drop more and more, and our response capability is going to be less as well. So I think that we're beating the drum of transparency. I think not guilt, but I think we're honest about there's some oversight with communication. That's an apology. Chief did say he apologizes. Where we're at right now is we have the gear in our possession. If this does not get passed and paid for, with any hope they can maybe get returned with a restocking fee, and we lose 6 volunteers. So that's what I'm up against. I'm kind of speaking for everyone, I guess. This isn't just me. So I guess if you have any questions from what I just brought up, I can try to answer it. But
No, I would like to just add one more thing. When it comes to the grants, though, the council is happy to call emergency session if there is a time-sensitive grant. We know grants are time-sensitive. We just need a heads up. Hey, listen, we're on a 1-week deadline, we're on a 2-week deadline, 30-day deadline. We need it tomorrow. We'll meet. We just need to know we've got a deadline on this day. What can we do? We'll make it happen.
Understood.
yeah, so that's where I'm at. I think we're all on the same page. The transparency, it slipped through. Things do happen. I don't think it's an excuse. He apologized, but we need this gear, and we definitely need this grant. So, thank you. Yep.
This grant
Any other questions up here?
This grant is extended through till 2028, so even next year, we roll into next year, and we start getting more volunteers next year, we're going to see continued process of purchases and grant reimbursements as we receive volunteers throughout the next couple of years.
So next year would be more like, hey, we've got 5 volunteers. They gave us a quote. It's going to be X number of dollars, and then we're going to bring that in front of council. And say, okay, great, perfect. We all understand.
So moving forward, if he has to make a purchase over $5,000 on a situation like this, does he have permission to do so? It was just this, I couldn't approve this amount through the purchasing
That would
house.
be each
So-
individual case, right?
We could pass a motion that all future purchases related to this grant
this
are pre-approved.
grant.
But we'd have to do that.
We already have something similar set up with the GoCo as the administrator.
And that was the process you guys
So
granted
can we
me,
just,
so.
can we just adapt that to future grants, this one included? That way, if he needs to be the administrator and that's appropriate, then saves a lot of headaches.
Just keep in mind, if the city portion gets to 5,000, then we got.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, what he's talking about too right now, well, that's gonna be $8,000-9,000, and so, does he have the authority to go ahead and purchase it, and then get this to us ASAP?
I think we can do
If
that.
it's the
We
same.
would have to have a motion.
I think ASAP needs to be a little quicker than this one. That's my biggest issue.
I think we've all agreed on that. It's just-
I think the conversation is kind of went full circle. I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve this purchase order.
Go ahead.
I didn't see your hand. I think
I've asked several times.
Yeah,
So,
let's come to you.
So, in the past, so you say that we talked about this in October of last year. So is this part of a larger grant that you are already using for the equipment and stuff like that? Is that what you were saying?
Like vehicle equipment, we have not used any part of this grant for vehicle equipment.
Okay.
That would be applied to the Rural Fire Protection District.
Okay,
So that would be a portion that they would be responsible for.
okay, I was just trying to figure out what you brought to us in October.
It was a safer grant
Okay, for a different
for this.
item or for this? This
For
specific
recruitment,
thing?
retention of
Okay.
volunteers.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, and we approved that?
There was, I don't remember, I didn't see the minutes.
I'm pretty sure,
I was
pretty
looking
sure we
back
would have, but.
to see what was the actual video footage, but the video footage isn't there.
Yeah, his Facebook, all of that. So, but the process that we've used for you in the past, Stacy, on these different grants is that once the grant is approved, you have the ability to purchase within that grant without coming to us for each individual purchase, even if they're over $5,000?
Correct.
Okay,
But
but
that
that
was
is
also
something
bef-
that we gave you specific.
Yes, but it was also
approval
before
for.
this purchasing policy was in place. This was in
Okay.
2022. So, but yes, the council did give me the authority to go ahead and make purchases, so I wasn't having to come back every time for this same process.
So, that was the clarification that I wanted, that this was not part of the grant that you got approved to make this purchase already. Then
I
why?
didn't know this purchase
Not
was gonna
this
need to be
purchase
made.
specifically, but it was part, you got approved to
Yes.
do a grant.
The
But you
reason
didn't
why
get
I chose
approved to
October
purchase
2024
by
is because I
yourself.
looked back on Facebook posts and when we made it public, the Safer Grant, and the city of Rocky Ford also posted it on their site that Rocky Ford Fire Department received this grant.
Okay.
And that's what I referred back to find out when exactly did I present this to council.
Okay, so part of what got missed also was giving him the authority to make purchases within that grant when we approved the
And at that time,
using of the grant.
at that time, without knowing the volunteers being recruited, I would not been able to give you a dollar amount because I would have never known.
So,
Well, then if we change that to where he's the administrator of this grant, then he wasn't, the dollar amount is irrelevant at that point.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
using that grant.
yeah.
So
So-
that's, we get that squared away on.
Yeah, so in the future, when we're doing grants, we need to make sure that the person that, or department person that is applying for said grant has the permission to do this, and we wouldn't even be having this
Right.
conversation.
If we want.
I'm writing grants for the museum, the council might well turn down.
I've also,
Well,
I've
but-
also wrote grants for like the fire pension as well, and it's 20,500. And I sat there and thought, oh crap, I didn't get council's approval to do that grant, and I probably should have. It's just when we're doing these grants and they cover almost 90 to 100%, we typically just roll through them and just take care of it. So having to get permission now is new, and it's hard to get used to. But I already apologized for that, and I explained my situation.
Well, and we can ease that based on these conversations in the future, so that it's not necessary, by making some sort of, I don't know what that would look like, but we can, I think, vote to make that
We could talk
necessary
about that on
shared
another
service.
council meeting.
It would have to be.
I had an HR guy one time tell me, he says, if you're going to make a mistake in your line of work, he said, make a mistake on behalf of your agency. As long as you make a mistake on behalf of your agency, he says, it's easy to respond. He says, but if you're making mistakes on behalf of yourself, he says, that's going to be hard to do.
Can I have something?
Yeah, so yeah, I'll kind of jump in here just to wrap the discussion up. I think where I hear a lot of the probably confusion over the policy versus, policy versus, what the procedure is how we have worked with most of the grants. And most of the grants are over 5 or 10 or 20, so they go over the thresholds of those different purchasing tiers. But it has been once that grant is approved, they are able to make those purchases. I think one of the things that we saw kind of recently that touched along these lines, Nicole, you had asked about the police vehicles that were purchased. That was kind of that same thing under the JAG grant. So it's I think that is something that we could make, we can add to the purchasing policy as far as whether it's an exemption or just that process of that grant being approved, whether it's ahead of time if it's a larger grant that we know is when we're doing letters of recommendation and letters of support, when it's getting submitted, or if it's after the grant is received and then we have that period. But I think that's what we can do on the policy side to just make sure it's in black and white. They have clear guidance on what they can and can't do. I had a conversation with a citizen over this, kind of asking why this was even tabled. I think one of the things that they shared really hit me, and I wanted to share with you all, and it was that I think we should really be thanking you all for, especially where we are with, a budget deficit, decreased revenues,
being innovative, being, go-getters, and bringing in additional money, resources into the city. So I wanted to share that and say thank you. That's all I have.
Got one comment, and I'm not jumping his bandwagon or anything, but if I have contact with any city employee, any citizen for that matter, concerning city business, that's a one-on-one for me. I will not divulge information, names, if I get from anybody. That's just the way I work. I found when I was working before I retired, the only way to get confidence in anybody is to be, neutral.
Absolutely.
And I've had conversations in my office with 5 of the 7 members currently in our council. 5 out of the 7 have come to visit. To ask questions.
I think my motion still stands.
Fuel, again.
Make a motion that we go ahead and approve this budget purchase.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have the second from Councilwoman Roberts. Call the vote.
Mosby? Yes. Roberts?
Yes.
Mullins?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yeah.
Mayor Budelay?
Yes. All right, that
Thank you guys for all you do.
to purchase is unanimously approved. Thank you all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know it's a difficult conversation to have on the day that we're honoring you all, but we do still all respect you. We're grateful that you're here.
I did want to add that the invoice was also changed. ROI made a mistake. They did put Rocky Ford Fire Department on the invoice.
I gave him a copy of that. I'll email it as well.
So that's been corrected.
Thank you.
Next item under old business 10.2 is the purchase order submitted by Rick Long to replace transmission on 2015 Dodge Ram 2500 Tradesman utility truck. I guess same process. If you want to come on up and share anything.
Y'all looked at it, right?
Yeah, I was looking at the quote. My question is though, the one in our email says 5190, and the one on, and the number on the ding is 5910.
This is 5190 on the one.
Yes, sir, 5190. All I'm doing is looking at the agenda.
It's a typo.
Their transfers, which makes it about $800 more.
Agenda says 59, but it was
Yeah.
51.
It's 5190.
Yeah.
That's correct.
That's what's on the quote. Okay. Thank you for getting additional quotes. It's just always nice to see what everybody else is at. I do see we've got one that's pretty close, but that one, I'm reading it correctly, it's rebuilt?
So that's where I'm gonna point on right now, is every single one of these quotes is rebuilt.
Including
They're-
Absolute?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're all reman, they don't provide the brand new
No.
transmissions.
It's not easy to get transmission for something that old.
I did call transmission doctors, and they can take it in and rebuild it. It's going to be around $6,000, but they never sent me the quote. Every single one of these are reman, 3-year warranty. All of them are the same, 3-year warranty. Some say over 150,000 miles, and then some say unlimited miles.
This one shows unlimited.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this for the Absolute bid.
I'd just like to pose a question real quick before we do that to the council. So we sort of discovered through the conversation about this what our purchasing policy really is as far as getting quotes, and it's over 20,000. Is that right?
Is multiple quotes, but like I said, when you're looking at something like this, even if it's under 5, between 20 and 5, it's still nice to see what everything's at.
I think
but-
for clarification about, I think we should either make it so that like anything over 5,000 requires multiple quotes, or that doesn't. Because I think there's this point in time where we have city employees investing hours on end, reaching out and getting multiple quotes for something that's $5,100, which is just over the limit they even have to ask us for. There's a certain point where it's like, it's costing the city too much to even bother. And this is somebody that they're already doing business with frequently, which is why we're already getting good deals with them. So I think as council, I think we need to have that conversation. If we're going to be requesting quotes for purchases below that $20,000
still ask for a quote, regardless, between 5 and 20. They have to have a
Multiple
quote.
quotes. Yeah,
It's
a
multiple
quote.
that's over 20.
Yeah,
But-
that's what yeah.
Honestly, I think with the budget tension and, crunch that we're in, I don't think it hurts to have a quote on things. I really don't.
Even if we weren't in a crunch, historically, I always get at minimum 2.
Same.
That's just me. I mean, I'm not gonna go
It's
for
totally valid.
And on this, to your point, quotes are not required. We never said they were.
One of us did.
No, it wasn't.
I didn't say
What-
they were required. I
what
said it
was
would be nice
said-
to have them.
What was said was you all shared that you had other quotes, and it was asked, where are those quotes? Can we see those quotes? That's how that conversation went that way. Between over 5,000, one quote. Over 20,000, it's 3 quotes. So that's already in our policy. Really, no changes needed there.
Okay.
Real quick, in the past, when we brought stuff up to you guys, it's always been requested that we get multiple quotes, whether we say we have or not. I understand. I spoke to a lot of people, and I'm asking that you guys respect and understand that we're doing our job. And I am looking for the lowest quote and the best quality.
Thank you for doing that.
But thank you for providing us with the other quotes so that we're able to see where everybody else is at. That's good for all of us, and that's good for transparency with the citizens as well. It shows that we're all, you and us, are all doing our best to be transparent with the citizens. So it wasn't me personally asking why you didn't do that. It was, can we all see where everyone is at so that the city can see and our citizens can see that we're trying to do the best and spend the money the best we can. This is awesome. We get to spend this $5,100, $5,200 here in Rocky Ford.
Yes.
Not that tax dollars get back because we don't pay taxes as a city, but the revenue stays in Rocky Ford. It employs people in Rocky Ford, and it keeps the business here in Rocky Ford. So thank you for getting the quotes, and we appreciate being able to see that. And then also all of us are then able to be transparent with the citizens. So it goes full circle with everyone.
And I appreciate it. Like sitting, personally, I would go to this place here because I trust them. But even though my due diligence for me, my money, I would have got a second quote no matter what. Just that's the way I am. But thank you for what you do, and I agree with this one.
Any further discussion?
That's fine.
We have that.
Did you catch the second?
I had Roberts first, and then was it Mullins second, or?
No, it was
Second.
Montgomery.
Okay.
All right, call that vote.
Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Mayor Goudelet.
Yes. Can you restate which,
I didn't make a
Me.
motion.
can you restate which one?
I make a motion that we approve the bid for the transmission on the 2015 Dodge Ram 2500 from the bid for Absolute Automotive for $5,190.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
Do I need to do the vote again?
No,
Okay.
second. Just so
You
that
got
way
2
that's
votes out
on
of this
record.
equal?
Okay.
Yes. Right, and that purchase request is approved from Absolute Automotive. Right, we move on to item 10.3, that's the discussion list of surplus equipment, real property for public sale. Kind of look for some additional conversation on this, if there's any other.
Surplus?
That list that we had last time, I thought we agreed. I thought we
Yeah, we agreed
on,
on like 7 items or
we
something.
were gonna, Stacy was gonna pursue selling 7 of those and everything on the equipment list, wasn't it?
I don't know if there was a motion made for the equipment list, it was
Oh,
just the
okay.
property.
Now, on this, yeah, so.
But we
it's
did make a we
Just
did.
the property, so if anyone think there was still some outstanding questions, for the equipment, and then I think also we were gonna get information from Public Works. So I don't know if anything's over there while you're still here, Kuko. No? Do you know if Rick was able to get any information on the auction sites?
Not that I know of, we haven't done all of them done yet, but Purple Wave is supposed to be contacting us. The one out of La Junta, used to be Heart Auction, but it's something else now.
What about down here?
That's
Okay, yes, we don't have any additional information here, so I don't know if there's any other discussion we want to have, or if we want to wait for that.
One thing I know I'd asked Stacy during the week is, this is all like the properties and the vehicles and everything, equipment. But does the city have any like generators, light plants, push mowers, anything like that, hydraulic equipment, stuff like that?
Everything everything that's on that list includes 0-turn mowers, and there is a generator on there, engines blowing on it. There's it's a generator. Maybe. I'm not sure.
So I guess a good question would be, are any of these things able to be sold, or are most of them just hunks of scrap metal that you need to just
As far
get rid of?
as far as the trucks and the street sweepers and the back truck I think we had on there, and the old, very old trash truck, those can be sold. People will buy them for the chassis, and there's the trucks can also be sold to somebody if they want to bid. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a low bid, but they need a lot of work. Two of the trucks run. Everything,
pickup trucks
I think
on
everything
here, a
runs.
loader.
Everything runs, except for the mowers.
Now, those are the riding mowers.
Yeah.
So pretty much they're all just parts vehicles.
Pretty much parts. You could probably make use of the back truck. If another city wanted to buy it and use it, they'd have to put the thousands of dollars into it to get it up to where it needs to be. The old trash truck, it's articulate, so it's a sidearm. And maybe somewhere in the city, somebody might be interested in something like that. The only way we're gonna know is if we put it out for auction. Purple Wave comes down, and they're supposed to come down and take pictures, and we try to do it with them operational so that they can put all that on their website. The problem with Purple Wave is there's no reserve. There's no reserve. And they pretty much, word of mouth, they pretty much guarantee that they're gonna make you more money than this.
Well, we asked them basically to tell us what they need from us to auction it, but
On their side, we were waiting to get information on which auction sites.
okay.
Yeah.
And
what's it gonna cost us to put it to auction? It's gonna cost money to put it on these auction sites, right?
No, Purple Wave doesn't charge. That's what we're trying to find out from the other one. I don't think they charge either. Maybe they take a commission or something, but
So maybe by next council meeting, can we
It's just-
try and have that information so that we can move forward with?
So just authorize them to use whatever they want to get rid of this
Well,
stuff?
would
'Cause
it-
it sounds like it's just junk.
Would it make us just, look, we're not gonna make $1 billion off a bunch of old
no.
chunks of metal. Would it make just as much sense to toss it in the paper and let people put bids into City Hall? Do a 90-day turnaround, come and put your bid in, and, we could set a reserve ourselves that way.
on that, I would look at both ends.
I was gonna say doing both.
I'd really like to see this posted on it.
Dwayne, didn't you mention a couple of auction sites that were pretty good too?
The only one that I mentioned is because they mentioned Purple Wave was roller auction.
roller auction. And then I did get, the county contacted us on, they said they use govbids.com.
We have to be a member of that,
No. So we're an entity, we're a government entity, so we can sign on to that. And they said that's how they sell all their equipment.
Yeah.
Roller auctions.
What's up with the auction company behind Walmart? There's
That's the new one that I was talking about. What we need to find out is if we need to take the vehicles, or if they're gonna put numbers on them, and people gotta come down here and see them. I think that's where it's gonna end up, is people are gonna have to come down here and see most of the stuff. We could probably get the trucks driven over there and have them parked out. But like some of the back truck we can drive, we have to make sure it's CDOT or it'll pass inspection before we can drive it anywhere. The street sweeper, that can move. Someone can come out and see that driving around. I believe, we just need to get word back from them, and they have an auction coming up next month, I think, in Lahana. I can't remember the date. So we're trying to see what we can do with them, and we'll get back to you guys on that, even if we get you an email, and you guys can look it over and see what you guys think. I honestly, I like Purple Wave, and I just think that, without having a reserve, kind of scary.
Yeah.
You get 20, you get 20,000 for a good chassis, and we end up selling it for $2,000. It's not. It's not a good deal. We would really like to clean up that space.
Can we look
That would be
around?
really nice.
Can you guys look around for some other auctions then?
Yes.
Can bring that up to the next council measure.
Yes, we're working on a list now, so we're trying to figure out what it takes and what we can do.
That would be good.
We just gotta make a decision and move forward.
I like the idea of a reserve.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the council's role is here. Is the council going to decide which auction site we use? Is that what?
Well, council
is that the
decides on
conversation
selling
we're having?
property, so we can't just auction off property.
Okay.
Yeah, we just
have
make
to
a
say
motion to approve the
specifically
sale
what
of
we
these and
want
however
to
they
sell
sell them,
and
they
how
sell
we
them.
want to sell.
Okay.
I
I mean, is that an option? We just make a motion that we approve the sale of these, and however Stacy and Public Works decide to sell them, they sell them?
I kind of think we're talking about peanuts.
I don't think we need to be involved in that process, do we?
Well, with that, I think since this is a newer thing, if we would have, heard, hey, this is a site that we use and trust, then
Well, we've never done
really
this.
not. But
Exactly, we
From
need to start.
Rick, he said, we would like to get more information.
Yeah.
So that is kind of what we're also looking at, is for that additional information.
So do we just want to table it until we can hear?
Yes.
That's what it sounds
How
like.
about work session? Maybe we
Yeah,
could get
work
it done by
session.
then.
That would be fantastic.
I will motion that we table this until the work session.
On what, November 4th?
Fourth,
Yes.
second. I will second that, is what I meant. Not the second. The fourth. We're not meeting on the second. that's
There's
the
no
second.
meeting on the 11th either.
No. I second that we talk about it on the fourth.
Sounds good. I'll vote.
Okay. Call that vote, and so it was a motion to table.
Okay. And the first was from McMurray?
Yes.
Okay, second from Roberts?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mullins,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Mayor Goudelet.
Yes.
The next item is new business 11.1. That is the approval of the employee medical benefits renewal for 2026. Stacy, if you want to get us started on that one.
Yeah, so we had the Hillier Brothers here, work session last week. They presented the council with some options on medical renewal. To that page. So I think sorry, there's too many blue pages. It was either staying with Cigna.
It's apples to oranges, and, Stacy
Yep.
said they're similar.
Wherever it's at.
Everyone, you put mine. They're getting picked up really well online. That way we don't have to pass it on. Stacy's sharing right now.
So sorry, I'm having a hard time finding where it's at, but basically the Cigna was going to give a $30,000 reserve or a surplus And then that would only make the premium a 5% increase. And I think the other one that was lower was Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. Oh, here it is. Okay, so with the revised, with the 30,000 surplus and the 5% increase, it would make the employee at 100% $793.97. If council decides to go with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, the premium was $707.93. I think the discussion is that we have history with Cigna, and that the Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield prescription plan wasn't quite as good as Cigna. So. And then the other two were Aetna and United Health, and they were 900. So I think those were out of the questions.
I believe there was a small copay difference in favor of Cigna as well. Just my only comment here is that I feel very strongly, based on my conversations with city employees, that remaining on the same plan would be beneficial towards them.
I think the only thing I would change is our eye. I'd bump it up to $2 to the best. Every single one of us sitting here is wearing glasses. We know how.
Well, and it's not even really, it's not even an increase. We're getting a better deal, and even the best one
and I think
is
it was
less than what we're currently
$1.83
paying.
difference or something. It wasn't a huge, but I know I'd like to do that.
I would say, I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's motion to approve the, staying with Cigna and upping the vision plan from the current to the best option that still keeps it less than what you're paying this year.
That's that $250 for glasses.
Yeah, you get a higher allowance for your frames.
Higher allowance for glasses.
Nicer frames every other year.
I'll second that motion.
We have the motion, Robert, second from Mullins. Any discussion on this?
Everybody in their glasses.
I was about to say we all wear glasses.
McMurray,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Mosby. Yes. Roberts,
Yes.
Mullins,
Yes.
Mayor Goudelet.
Yes. Alright, so that approval was for the Cigna renewal. We'll move on to 11.2, which is the discontinue the EAP program, which has a cost of $10 per employee per month. Stacy, if you want to help that one.
So they also gave a report that it wasn't utilized very well. They gave reports on the number of the caregiver concierge was 9 people, the teledoc mental health was 6, law assurers was 5, the kindly human was 4, and care companions was 3. When they actually used the teledoc, 1 person. So
Yeah, those numbers were who looked at it while they were signing up.
Yeah, they would look at
Yeah.
it.
So,
And I do
that's
have,
pretty low just for people.
I do have some more information on that.
I'd like to see you drop that.
Many of our city employees, and 3 of them had stated that the teledoc was something that was very important to them and that they had utilized very recently, and that they may not have sought care had they not had. So I do believe it's one of those things that even if you're looking at it on a per case basis, maybe we're overpaying for what that service is for that, what was delivered in that one instance. Those people might not have sought care. I think it's our responsibility to make sure that they are getting care when they need it. And as our insurance rep said, we're one tragedy away from everybody wanting to do this.
What do we lose by keeping it again?
It costs us
$10 a month.
$10
It
an
costs us
employee.
like $6,000.
Yeah.
So, to me, the $6,000 is well worth it. Even if one person was using just that one feature, that's how I feel about it.
I'm glad that you said you went on and spoke to the people involved, people affected. Food was there. I didn't have a chance to go out, talk to anybody that would be affected by it personally. One thing I will say, if only one person used it last year, If it doesn't improve, I'd say, this year, continue it. If it doesn't get any better, there's no reason to keep it.
Was that the number of people who actually used it, or just the people who viewed the links or whatever?
I don't know that he really clarified
The
that.
one was for telehealth.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
the
was the one
one-
they were able to track, was the one that was for the telehealth, the therapist.
But you're saying 3 people you talked to say they've used it recently? and
Yeah,
maybe
so that
wasn't just in that
the
data yet?
information may have been outdated at that time.
And I can tell you, I use the law, sure. Just, but I'm one though, you give me a card, I look at it, I'm gonna research it, but that's me. I can speak for several other people who said that they didn't know that they had it, but it's,
Do we not have signage up in places? I know that
there is signage up in places, but again, I think it's, you're issued this, it comes in the mail, you set it aside, but I'm one that opens everything, so it's,
Stacy, it must be a powerful tool though if you have somebody coming to you with like this sort of personal issues or something that they're struggling with, work-life balance or something, to kind of give them, look, you have some support with these channels
I
here.
get that more than you know.
Well, we have a handful of employees in the room. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah.
Were you aware of it?
Telemarketing, I talk about them cards.
So when it comes to speaking to somebody about if you're having mental health issues like stress, depression, dealing with things that have happened in your life, your mother, father, dying, kids, when you speak to somebody on this platform, you're speaking to somebody who's very neutral to our area. And so speaking, when you go to say a therapist here in La Junta, they know people all around you, you don't feel comfortable, so you talk to them and you just feel like they're gonna say something even though that's not what they're supposed to do, and it happens because I've heard things before, about people, and I'm like, well, why should I know this? And so I think on that stand, being able to talk to somebody who's neutral, somebody you don't really know, somebody that's not going to see you face to face the next day at Walmart, you're able to speak a little bit better to those people. I know in some instances people have told me, well, I don't know, I feel weird talking to a stranger, and I get that also, but when you go into a therapist, it's like you're speaking to a stranger until you find out that you pass them in the grocery store and they're talking to your aunt or something, and you just don't feel comfortable anymore. So you quit going.
You run into your buddies.
But the teledoc is more than just that. You can call your doctor, you just feel sick.
Yeah, you can call your doctor if you're really sick. And I know like during COVID, it would have been very helpful to not leave your home and call them and be like, hey man, I'm having these issues. And they could tell you, give you what you need, prescribe your medicines, things like that. You got a toothache or something, you call them up and you're like, hey man, I got a toothache, I don't want to go outside. My eyes are burning from the sun or something,
What about something when an employee calls in because they're sick and maybe you say, hey, maybe this resource might help you, and maybe they send you a text or, after they've called in, they just send them a text and say, hey, check out this resource. Maybe it helps today, maybe it doesn't help. Because you're not getting personal, you're not asking what's going on, but just kind of a reminder. Maybe they're calling in because they're having a rough day. Maybe they're calling in because they lost a family member or something like that. And just kind of a reminder when something is happening, or even when you're sick or don't feel good, and you don't want to go to Valley White, or you don't want to go to the doctor here or leave the house. Just kind of remember you have this option available to you. Check it out. If you use it, cool. If you don't, but you're just kind of keeping that reminder there and letting them know, hey, we've got this available for you. We really want you to utilize it.
So, how did you find out? Because it kind of seems like there's
really-
a bit of a disconnect of the
So-
information.
So I had, for those of you who don't know, I've had, my mother passed away, then my brother, and my other brother, and it was very hard to deal with. So I talked to Shelly, and I was like, hey, do they charge us, or how much does our coverage cover if I go speak to somebody about some of this stuff? I don't know how it's affecting me, or how am I supposed to feel about these? But she told me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that the insurance guys told us about this and we could use it. So I called it, or I went on the app, and then you go through a line of people and you get to pick who you want to talk to, and then I picked somebody, and I've been in conversations with them for what, 2-3 years now, 2 years that we've had it. And every once in a while something will come back and I'll feel like, hey, I need to talk to somebody. I've been acting out a little bit, or something, and so I'll talk to them, and then there's professionals on it that we can speak to also who will help us be better at speaking to people and being better at the way we are when we treat people in different ways, and I know I act out a little bit sometimes, but it helps to talk to somebody.
Yeah, I'm sorry that your loss, but and at the same time, there's no back on that. And at the same time, you were able to seek out some for assistance and for help. So having that program there available for you seems like it's beneficial. I just think that there might be a disconnect on the information getting out to the employees of what's available to them. So we need to, you guys need to figure out how to better get that information out.
So I had a question, because what I'm hearing is teledoc, like, so you can talk to a doctor, but then I'm also hearing the mental health portion. Is that not separate?
That is, yeah,
So that's
Teladoc is included with your
is it
walls.
part of the insurance?
Cigna. The CAP
Okay.
would be mental health.
Right,
or
and that's the $10
legal.
a month that we're paying is for the mental health portion. Okay, so I heard some kind of back and forth a little bit, and I just wanted to clarify that. And to add on to that, I do have an employee who has used that and stated that it was extremely helpful, and she does promote it to the rest of our staff.
Good, that's good.
We do have a health newsletter that covers not only physical health, but mental health and well-being that we do internally. We have a gal that's in charge of that and does very well with it. And so this is something that we do share with our staff internally. So just
Doesn't the insurance company itself send you out brochures?
They do.
Well, but how many would look at those?
Well, agreed, exactly.
I don't think I've
But
even
this is
opened some of
totally
this.
separate from their health insurance.
All
We're
right,
not getting rid of health
if we
insurance.
want to have more discussion, let's acknowledge.
Thank you.
I want to just check, Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add?
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Council, for considering the needs of the employees of the city. Especially tonight, as we're recognizing first responders, I think we also have to keep in mind first responder stress. It's very rare that our first responders get called to somebody that's having a good day. Some of the things that our police officers, our firefighters, our EMTs, and even our dispatch center have to deal with on a daily basis, there's things called traumatic stress, and there's things called accumulative stress. You know, we talk about traumatic stress, we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, we talk about post-traumatic stress. The accumulative stress affects people as well. And, you know, I think it's great that you guys have helped support the city in this way, and I would encourage you to help support the city in this way, because our first responders and others in the city that experience these events need to have that outlet. So I would encourage the council to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that answers my question.
I just want to say, to what the chief was saying, I think after hearing that, and then the case that Thomas mentioned, to me it just seems like it would be crazy for us to let that go. We have to protect our people, and so with that, I motion that we continue the program.
I second it.
Any final? All right, we have a motion from McMurray, second from Martinez. Call the vote.
Barone.
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Mosby.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Mullins.
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Mayor Goudelet.
Yes. All right, so that is approved for the 2026 year. So you have both of those, Stacy. Get those all sent over and renewed.
Just don't tell your doctor the kind of food I feed.
We'll move on to staff reports, city manager report. Stacy?
Okay, so only update I have on properties is Liberty School. Did get a phone call from the tax lien holder, J.C. Hom. She's willing to meet with the mayor and myself. She has some ideas on the property. She doesn't own it. She's just the tax lien holder. She can call for an auction. She said she was very frustrated with the process, how the state changed the law, acquiring properties this way. So, but she is willing to have that discussion. City had an all-staff SURSA safe driving training last Thursday, the 23rd, at the Public Safety Building. Rocky Ford Fire Department offered a CPR first aid AED class on Saturday, the 25th. I don't know how many people were there, but when I drove by, it looked like quite a few cars were there. Public Works will be, there's sorting street signs now, and when they start installing, they'll start on Main Street. Is that the plan? The third annual Trunk or Treat at Crystal Lake is Friday. Drive-through starts on North 5th and Catalpa. The large pile of trash and debris on the 8th Street side that's been sitting there for years is gone. Thank you, Kuko and your staff. They got all that removed. It looks very nice out there. We did receive $20,000 for fabrication and installation of the gate on the Catalpa entrance, and that was a grant through CHAFA. And working with Electra Johnson, our GoCo contractor, on the specs for the fabrication of that gate. And then we did receive we purchased 6 benches through the GoCo grant that we'll be placing out at Crystal Lake. If we've got time, Kugo is going to try to get a few of those in for Trunk or Treat. And then Day of the Dead. I'll try to pronounce this. Dia de los Muertos is Saturday, November 1st. I didn't put that on there. Okay. That's at the Plaza, the Gobin Building, 5:30 to 7:30. There'll be lots of activities there. And then coming up, the Arkansas Valley Balloon Festival, November 8th and 9th. Did have a citizen concern regarding the paving project on 17th Street that's causing some issues to his property. When it rains, the water flows towards Washington and then pools on his property. So when I went and looked at it, the street was built up, and so when it rains, it kind of gets trapped in there. We would like the city to consider in the future installing curb and gutter on the east side of the street, or just on that end. So, employee handbook, I promise that we're almost done with it. Michelle can attest to that. So finalizing the edits before sending to the attorney. Before we do that, we would like to get the approved 26 holiday schedule. Michelle had some recommendations on changing a few things to align with the county on the landfill and when it's open and when it's not. One day it's a Good Friday.
Good Friday, we are open. They are closed for the landfill, and then I believe Columbus Day is the other.
So they see Columbus and we do the green. Yeah.
Is that correct, Kuko, with the landfill?
So when we're running trash, when it's closed, then they just have to quit when the trucks get backed out. So, and then we want to make sure that we're including key changes to the Colorado employee law and employment legislation. That's included in the book, and we would like to make the handbook effective January 1st.
Is there any good real quick? We actually started replacing the signs going up to the school on Washington, so there are no more little 25-mile-an-hour signs. They're bigger. There's a tree in the way we're gonna get ready to cut down. That's kind of taking you can't really see the sign till you get up on it. But yeah.
Quick question about that. So I noticed taking Vivian to school that there is a 15-mile-per-hour sign now on Melanier Drive. Is that something we did, or is that something the school did, and or how did that come about?
I believe when Coates was around, she had spoken to Kermit and them, and I thought they had spoke to you guys about that they wanted the 15-mile-an-hour signs to stay around the school, but coming up to the school to change back to 25.
Yeah, we talked about that when Kurt and them were here.
Okay, I'll believe you. I just noticed it. Thought we agreed that it was all going to be 25, but.
And I spoke with Matt today, and
But it should be the 15 there? Yeah, because the 25 was to get up the hill, I think, mainly.
Stacy, on Crystal Lake, starting to do more and more outdoor benches and everything. Is there any kind of security out there, cameras or anything, surveillance?
No.
Because if I hate to see put stuff out there and then just get tore up.
I'll tell you what though, do you ever go out there?
Not too often.
And it surprised me when I started going out there more. There's not a whole lot of riffraff out there. It's a pretty decent little area. You don't see a lot of it. A little bit of trash down there, but nothing.
The trash is all I've noticed. They get out there dumping this trash. Yeah, I don't know, just something.
Looks pretty nice out there. I mean, it's overgrown, but it's and some trees need, lots of trees are broke from that storm last year, but yeah, they've picked up the trash, and thank you again for that. That was pretty amazing.
Thank you. Any other questions, City Manager report? Only one that I have is now that with the street signs moving forward, if there's been any thought or decision on any volunteer opportunities.
I guess that's probably going to be a Sursa question, maybe the city attorney on the liability part of it.
Are you awake? He's watching a podcast.
So your question was whether we have volunteers, whether there's any kind of liability concerns?
Pretty much.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd, and I guess what would the activities be? This would be street cleanup, is that?
It would be installing street signs.
Yeah. I think we could probably put together agreements that would make sense that anybody who's volunteering, that they would, waive liability, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I think there's always the risk that they could try to sue, but at least we would have an agreement in place that we could rely on. So, if that's something that we want to do, I'm sure I could put something together.
Even if it's just to put the sign together.
I know this was discussed before, and that was the guidance that that question was going to go over about what was needed to be done.
Just a simple waiver, sure. Yeah.
Everybody's kind of good there, just a consensus.
I'd sign a waiver.
Yeah, if we can get that drafted, I think council for sure, and I'm sure a lot of other people in the community would love to help these guys get those installed.
Okay, so do you want me to put together then kind of like a general waiver for anybody who's volunteering to put signs up?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put that on the list then.
Yes.
And when would we need that by? Just kind of as soon as possible, or?
Yeah, as soon as possible. I know they're going to get started. I'm sure as weather allows.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get on it.
All right, we'll move on to our council reports. We'll start with Councilman Martinez.
All right, well, I don't, just before you go, we had this discussion before, unless anybody else feels that we need the attorneys, I think, Dan, you're probably good to take the rest of the evening off. We're just going to be talking about community events.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I can sign off.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Dan. Have a great night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good call, Mr. Mullins.
Yeah, we still haven't been able to schedule a library board. We're supposed to have them tomorrow night. Let's see if that happens. A lot of people doing lots of different things. A lot of our board works for the schools, so their schedules are different. We are doing Lego Club every Friday at the library, and that's going well. Vivian comes and comes and visits us. We love Viv. Right, well, she's good at that. Anyway, so that's going great. We're looking at seeing what else we can bring to the library. I know that's something I've been volunteering over there, trying to find what other programs we can offer the kids. I know Diana's doing hers with the after school, with a Friday afternoon, whatever they call that club, and they're doing really well. She's probably got more kids than us some Fridays, so that's going great. We haven't had a tree board meeting. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
My time.
Okay, I got a lot of notes here, so take your shoes off, get comfy.
I should go get some food.
We're here. We're ready, Robert.
Okay, the Arts Commission had a meeting on October the 21st at the Grand Theater. The last movies, year to date, or September, the last movie was Tron. That was a couple of weeks ago. It was for 2 weeks. Not very good turnout. Not very good. Both weekends, for I guess that'd be a total of 6 shows, 108 people. We could do it better. Come on, people. It's help the theater survive. After that was Gabby's Dollhouse, and that was one weekend that didn't do very well. This week, up and coming this week, is Soul on Fire. It's hopefully we get some people to go to the show. I mean, kids are probably cooped up. Send them down to the movie.
What is that about?
I don't have a clue. You know what Soul on Fire is about, JR?
It's a faith-based thing.
Faith-based.
Yeah, it's about a young man who was injured by fire and how he dealt with it.
So faith-based true story.
Yeah. Burn injuries. Yeah.
Burn injury. Okay. Upcoming events. There's going to be on, I think it was November 11th. They're going to have a free movie that was filmed locally, Rocky Forest Wink in La Junta. Actually, that's done. I'll take that back. That's going to be on November the 6th. Going to be shown here. It's free admission.
It's the title of that movie is Ghost Town.
Ghost Town or
Ghost Town is the
Ghost Town,
movie
yeah.
that was made.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
So, and that was, I guess, local directors. Everybody was locally on that one. So, if you got time on November the 6th, come down to the Grand. I'm not sure what time. Do you know what the movie time is, JR?
7.
7 p.m. on the 6th of November. Come down and see a movie filmed entirely at Rocky Forest Wink in La Junta. Local people. Sponsors for the Halloween upcoming movies.
That's this Thursday.
Yes, on October the 30th, Thursday at 7 p.m. Gonna be showing Scooby-Doo with Freddie Prinze Jr. in it. That will be starting at 6:30. So that is this Thursday.
The costume contest is at 6:30.
With the costume contest is at, I'm sorry, the costume contest starts at 6:30. The movie starts at 7. Thank you for the correction there, JR. And then upcoming movies for Christmas. Apodaca family is going to sponsor Christmas Story. That'll be November the 28th. All movies for Christmas will be shown at 1:30 p.m. So on the 28th, the Apodaca family will be sponsoring Christmas Story. Len's Tavern, I think we'll be doing December the 6th. They'll be doing It's a Wonderful Life. And Main Street Lounge will be doing Alf on December the 13th. I don't know if there's any concessions involved with those, just the free admission for sure though. Polar Express will be on December the 20th. On the 20th, I guess that's when they're having the ugly Christmas sweater contest. So on that one, on the Polar Express, you come down on the 20th on that Saturday. CCOM will be sponsoring a movie possibly on the 27th. No information on that yet. On the Polar Express, that will be sponsored by First National Bank. You can always help support the grant by going down, attending the movies, buying concessions, whether you consume them there or take them out. You can rent the facility for whatever to show a movie. You can rent the whole building and show a movie from there. You can rent it to have plays or whatever you're doing. Advertise your local businesses, not just Rocky Ford, La Junta. Get involved. Put some of your screen. Got the biggest screen in East of Pueblo here, all the way to Kansas. People come and see a movie on a big screen, like going to a drive-in theater with the comforts of the seats inside. The posters, they still haven't got an email address, but all the posters dating back to around 1990, they're wanting to start selling them, probably about $10 a pop. They might be displaying some of them in the near future when you go to see them, and they'll be able to first come, first serve on those.
Robert, real quick, about 4 years ago, somebody rented the theater and had a wedding in there.
There you go, Mr. J.R. Thompson just said about 4 years ago, somebody actually rented the theater to have a wedding. Nothing better to get your wife up on stage. You know, get the first kiss on stage, or so. Okay, you can also do a wedding there, people. You know, you can.
They had a lot of guests.
Yep, but yeah,
That's why
a
they
lot
went
of
to
people,
the
like
theater.
300 some people, get in there for that one. With everything going on in the nation, government shut down, small town project. The food bank here, across the street from the grocery store, they will be open tomorrow from 1 to 5 for the shoppers. Thursday from 1 to 5 for the people driving up to get boxes. The following week, the church up by the high school will be having, they give food. I'm not sure the times or the address, but they have theirs on the weeks that small town is closed. So they'll be doing that one next Wednesday. The small town will also be open on November the 19th. It's a Wednesday for the shoppers, Thursday the 20th for the drive-up, 1 to 5 people. I'd like to thank Rocky Ford School District. They donated some rolls for everything tonight, so thank you to the school district on that. That's pretty much for me. I haven't been able to get out much. Other things going on, but thank you. If you got any chance to volunteer, people, please get out and volunteer. Help out the community, help everything out. There was the spay neuter clinic coming up November 14th, 15th, 16th for cats in Swink at the Positive Pathways. So if you anything there, if you need that, I think those are $25 for a spay neuter of your cats. And then once again, most importantly, last quarter of the year is the worst time of year for suicides. You know, with all the pressure, with money, people going to visit, coming to visit, whatnot, people getting furloughed this time of year. A lot of things go on. So if you know of anybody that might be hurting, give them a shoulder to lean on, listen to them. Sometimes that's all they need. You know, it's hard to talk back. I don't know what to say to anybody that's in a crisis, but at least try, give it an effort, because the life you say today could be 1,000 in 10 years, could be 10,000 in 20 years. You don't know. But a lot of lives are affected by one life. But you can call 1-844-493-8255 or text TALK to 38255. So please, you know, watch out for each other, watch your neighbors, watch your family, extended family. People start to change, notice some differences. Just keep an eye on them. And yourself, if you have some issues, reach out. Be surprised. And as we hit on earlier today, if you don't want to talk to somebody local, you can do the numbers, the 800 numbers. You can also go to your clergy. A lot of clergy will do stuff. So please watch out for everybody. Have a safe day. Thank you. Watch out for the trick-or-treaters Thursday night, Friday night. Watch out for the trick-or-treaters. Going to be a lot of them out in the dark, so be careful. That's it. I'm done.
Well, I mean, I think Robert pretty much covered all of it.
Stacy had a good one.
But I do want to say another shout out though to First Responders Day. Really appreciate our heroes. Thank you, Chief, for what you do. And the fire department's gone now, but thank you for what they do, and thank you for what you do too. Appreciate you guys. I don't have anything though.
June holds them all together.
Pass it on to Nanette.
I don't have anything to report. Pass it on to you.
I've just got lots of events.
Trunk or treats.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on a couple of those. So Friday, yes, lots of trunk or treats going on. So we've got one at the Chamber of Commerce in Depot Square. We've got one at Crystal Lake. We've got one at it's not really a trunk or treat, and so at the fire department. You guys doing stuff at the police department like usual?
I actually want to partner with the fire department and see if we can partner with the other organizations that are out there. Plus, I also want to have police officers on the streets keeping our kids safe.
Awesome. So, fire department, Crystal Lake, Depot Square, and also the high school FBLA will have a trunk or treat. So those are the 4 places I know of in Rocky Ford that are trunk or treats. If you are out and about taking your kids, we do have 2 places in town to take your children with some elderly people that would love to see their smiling faces. Pioneer Healthcare Center and Cottonwood Assisted Living. Please go see these people. They love to see your children's smiling faces.
Pioneer's doing their talking pumpkin too.
Oh yes, and Pioneer does have their talking pumpkin, which is a great treat if your kids haven't been there. My kids love that. For years, I can't believe I
You should have tons of candy.
Exactly, and by the time you hit all of those, you need to go empty your candy bag at home and head out for the trick-or-treating, but make sure you bundle up. What else is going on? So the next day, haunted house. I've heard amazing things about the haunted house. If you haven't been to the haunted house on Main Street, go check it out. I know haunted houses aren't for everybody, but if you like that sort of thing, go check it out. My kid's supposed to be volunteering this weekend, so I'm kind of excited to see what he has to say, because I did that when I was a teenager.
Right across the street?
Right across the street, up above Bloom and Sugar Rush and,
Okay,
and
yeah.
stuff. So go check it out. I've heard it's fantastic. So the following day is, like Stacy said, the Dia de los Muertos celebration, Day of the Dead. Starts at 5 p.m. in Depot Square. They're going to set up an altar and stuff underneath the band shell over there. There'll be games, activities, food, all sorts of decorating and arts and crafts for the kids. The altar will stay up for a few days as far as I understand. But the celebration is that Saturday evening from 5 p.m. to I think 8-ish. I don't really know. Diana's just going to show up and do things, and I'm going to be there to support her. So that's her event. But the following weekend is Balloon Festival weekend. So Friday they do paper balloon launching. I'm not sure. Are they doing that at the balloon launch site this year? I think they are.
I think so.
They
Which is
used to do it
amazing
at
to watch if
Jefferson,
you
but
haven't seen it before.
Jefferson's not there anymore. So I believe at the balloon site they'll do the paper balloon launching Saturday and Sunday morning, 6:30 a.m. in David Waterfield. Balloon launches will take place on Saturday. We have the craft fair at the Gopin Building, runs from 10 to 3, and then in the evening, 5 o'clock dusk-ish time, there is what they call a balloon glow parade. Comes down Main Street. A couple of the balloon pilots have their baskets on their vehicles and stuff, and then we all gather out here behind City Hall in the parking lot. A couple of baskets get set up. We roast some s'mores, have some vendors and DJ and stuff set up over here in Railroad Park, and we have a nice little shindig here in Rocky Ford and celebrate our 36th annual Arkansas Valley Balloon Festival. So, and that it will be our 10th annual Peggy Meyer Memorial Craft Fair on Saturday as well, from 10 to 3. So make sure you get out and celebrate the Balloon Festival. It's a very big thing here in Rocky Ford, and something we love to keep bringing back. So the more we support it, the more it sticks around and the bigger it grows. Not sure how many balloons, but
If it's
growing.
not too cold, I'll be out there. Matter of fact, this week I found in one of my drawers the pin, the button. I think it was 1989, 86. It was one of the first ones.
Yep.
I'll be wearing it.
Awesome. And they do have apparel and things like that for sale. That trailer's out at every event and everything, so get out there and support them. That's how they make it happen. So I've got lots of other community events going on here. So the Rocky Free Kitchen will have 2 free meals this month. One on the 5th of November, so that is not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday. That runs from 5 to 7 p.m. That's in the baggage room, and this coming meal is going to be homemade beef stroganoff. They have the meat donated by Blue Ribbon out of Fowler, and V. Montoya is going to be making homemade rolls. That meal is open to everyone. Please make sure that if you are hungry, or you know somebody that is hungry, or if you're hungry, just please show up. Please support these organizations. They take donations, they take volunteers, and they're just working hard to make sure that everybody in our community at least gets a free meal occasionally throughout the month. With everything going on with food accessibility this month, they have decided to do an additional meal on the 19th, which is also another Wednesday. So 2 weeks later, we'll have another meal at the baggage room. And then the following week, there is a community Thanksgiving dinner that takes place at the Gopin Building that is hosted by a group here in town. It's the Victorious Church and another ministry that work to put all of that together. Completely volunteer-based. All of the meal is free and provided by all of the different community members that help. So there's 3 opportunities here in Rocky Ford this month to get yourself a free meal. So please get out and take advantage of those, because not everybody has the ability to take things from the food bank that are necessarily easy to be cooked when you don't have a home. So those are just some great opportunities to have a free meal here in town.
Can I jump on there real quick?
For sure.
If anybody needs a ride to any of those meals, or over to Small Town, my number's on our website. It's on Facebook. I can drive anybody to any of those things if you you guys need to get food.
Yes,
I'm sure
and-
others would have.
And if there are people that need anything, a meal delivered to them or something like that, on either of these things or for Thanksgiving, please reach out to, I'm gonna say any one of the council members here. We all know how to get a hold of each other. I will be present at all of these, free meals this month. So if anybody gets anybody contacting them that needs one delivered to them for some reason, give me a name, a phone number, and an address, and I will make sure that a meal gets delivered. Sometimes if they need 2, 3, just however many are needed, just let me know and I will make sure that they get to those people.
Here in Rocky Ford or how far out?
I would say Rocky Ford, maybe Swink, Manzanola, you know, maybe within that 5 to 10 mile radius of Rocky Ford would be the easiest. If there's somebody out here that would be willing to drive any further than that, please just get in contact with one of us.
Yeah, just call us.
I mean, we as a council are willing to make sure that the people in this community get a meal. And it's what's gonna happen. We're all gonna work together.
I'll get you a meal if I need to make that alone.
Agreed. I mean, if you call me and you tell me that you're hungry and your kids can't eat, I'm gonna figure out a way between the group of us to make sure that somebody gets food. So we are here for you as a community. Please reach out to anybody sitting up here and we will make sure that you and your family are taken care of as best to our ability that we can. That doesn't mean that we, you know, take everybody grocery shopping, but we're gonna do our best to make sure that you get something in your stomach and that you are fed. I guess an additional free meal that I'm not mentioning is that again on the 29th, there will be a free chili supper at the Gobin building after the Parade of Lights. So there's four free meals. And last year we ran out of our 5 buckets of chili, so we'll probably be doing 6 this year. Just, I mean, if you want to come help, we'll always take it. So, and we did get a major sponsor for that this year. That's going to be really helpful. So Black Hills is going to be a partner sponsor or presenting sponsor is what they call it for our Parade of Lights this year. So that really helps and will allow us to make the meal a little bit heartier than just a bowl of chili, maybe some breads or something like that. So thank you, Black Hills, for that. So I've kind of touched on all of my my community events. Again, I want to say that we do have the community Thanksgiving on the 27th. Our Parade of Lights is on the 29th. That will start at 5:30 top of Main Street. We'll come down Main. Santa will light the tree, and we'll go inside and have a community dinner and break bread together and share a meal and kick off that holiday season the best way Rocky Ford knows how. I do have one event coming up on the 22nd of November. We've got another concert happening. We're going to do this. Los Amantes del Norte is the name of the band that's coming on the 22nd. The last one went really well, so we're going to keep trying to do these things and bring different events to Rocky Ford and just kind of give people something to do.
Is Los Amantes the one? I don't know.
I'm not the band recruiter. I'm the building supervisor. I provide a place. They bring the people.
Is the Elks going to be doing anything for Halloween this year? They usually do something.
Aren't they partnering
Larry's
with
not
the?
here.
I thought I read where they were partnering with the fire department.
The Elks are?
I haven't seen
That's why they were at the fire department last year.
That's all I got. I'm good.
Robert, we covered it all.
We do. We got all the events covered. Dwayne, Stacy, we make sure you know what's going on in Rocky Ford.
Just change it to Ramon and Nicole reports that.
I know Stacy did a pretty good job. You're doing a job.
We all pitch in here.
Is there still a seat open on the chamber?
I actually have 3 seats open on the chamber board. So please join us.
Speaking of that, the Arts Commission does have what, 3, 2?
One, I think.
But 2 are coming up, I think, in the term.
All right. First and foremost, again, another thank you to our first responders who are glad to have so many of you come out here today. And in relation to that, thank you, Nick, for putting that proclamation together so that we can do this annually and for providing a lot of that food. And thanks to Annette and Chuck Mosby, who graciously provided amazing hoagies. Everybody loves, what's the name of your business again? members. If you see them out there, go try, give them credit. We definitely appreciate that. And as far as the museum goes, we do have stuff going on. The Rocky Ford Museum is inviting the community to see Professors Warren McClure and Mark Corbett's Otero College Biology Department. They'll be giving a presentation about prehistoric identification on November 21st at 6 p.m. This is really cool. We do have a lot of fossils at the museum, so we'll be going over how to identify them and where they came from and how old they are and maybe what the animals look like. It's going to be a learning experience for me, and I'm sure it's a great learning experience for the whole community. It's free of charge, so there's no charge at all. I always bring snacks, so there's free food, there's free information. It's got good heat. It's fun time. We do have a gift shop that's growing in there. We've got t-shirts available, which are very cool. All those proceeds go to the museum. We've got keychains and stuff like that, which I print out for free to the museum and all that. It's 100% profit for the museum. It helps us do stuff like catalog and preserve our history. So please come out there and support us. We definitely appreciate that. And that's what I've got.
Thank you. We had a couple events, meetings. Last on the 15th, attended the Arkansas Valley Regional Medical Center tour. So got to hear from their leadership about kind of where they're at, what their plans are for the future of that facility. Got to see the different departments in there, the new respiratory department, and I think really just good opportunity to see what we have, right in our community and understand, that kind of where they're at on working to stabilize and build a strong foundation for the future of that facility and to continue, being able to provide that health services for our region. On the 16th, I had a meeting with CSED. They presented an opportunity to install some bus stops. So I did attach the kind of a model of the bus shelter that they have. So I will be adding this to the next agenda in November, but wanted to get this in front of everyone now. They are going to be looking at 4 different locations across the city that they'd like to propose a bus shelter. So wanted to send that to you and let you know that I'll be adding that to the agenda for the 10th. Had our Oakley OPI meeting on the 20th. One of the action items that OPI had was to approve a lien position for one of the recent loans that was for New Venture LLC, which is the bowling alley up in LJ. So needed to change our lien position for OPI's loan into the second position. So the bank will have first position on that property. So needed an approval on that, and it was approved. So OPI has the second lien position on that property for that loan. On the 22nd, attended the Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservancy District's Lunch and Learn about 1041 permits. We almost had a full council present there, but really good to just understand how where the 1041 permit and agreements, the mutual agreements coming, and being able to protect water. They showed a use case from the San Luis Valley. Otero County does have a 1041 agreement, but in the San Luis Valley, they have a really rather large one with about 16 municipalities and counties, and they have a large MOU across all of them. So I think that's something we can continue learning more about, looking more discussion if that's something Rocky Ford wants to pursue. The 24th, that would have been last Friday, attended the CML Executive Board. We met with Governor Polis, kind of shared some questions and concerns. One of the questions came up around more pertinent to rural was the question of keeping the severance tax with the impact mineral impact program, which is under DOLA. There had been talk about some of that funding being moved over to backfill the budget. So he did share that that program is probably one of the main ones that has benefited rural Colorado, and they want to keep that intact to its fullest, and that kind of is funded through our severance tax. And then the other question was around reducing red tape and barriers, like local matches or the reimbursement requirements for smaller municipalities, rural municipalities. So that was something that another one that he said, he wanted to try to find ways to make that work. So I think that one was kind of over to Maria de Cambria. She's executive director of NOLA, but on the administrative side, he did say he would support any changes to the administrative process. And then CML did approvals on some positions on upcoming 2026 legislation that they kind of already have a good understanding of what's going to be proposed in the next upcoming legislative session. Most of them are none of them were really would have impacted like Rocky Ford or really even Southeast Colorado, aside from just overall losing local control anytime there's a statewide bill. But some of these land use was regulation of noise. I think those were coming more from some of our the resort towns, some of our ski towns. And then there is a bill that they're looking at about sex offenders in transitional living facilities within 1,000 feet of a school. So that's something that CML is going to be taking a position on. And then taxation around lodging and vacancy tax. A lot of those were surrounding short-term rentals, kind of more focused on our ski towns and some of those resort and tourist towns. But if anyone wants to look at those further, let me know. I can forward them over. And I'm sure in the next CML newsletter you'll also see those. And then that's all I had on here, but this morning did attend along with Chief Wallace the assembly at the school for Red Ribbon Week. So great opportunity to just meet all of our little people. It was great this year. They had all the high schoolers out there as well. Last year it was just the elementary side, so we did also have the kind of the middle school and high school kids, which was amazing. So everyone was in the Malin Dome, and Chief Wallace was able to talk to them about the importance of staying drug free, and also being able to take a stance when those things are, that peer pressure comes their way, and able to share some words with them. So great to continue this. This is kind of our second year, and I know we talked about this at our last meeting, but definitely want to continue doing this. This is only 1 week out of the year, but also looking at other ways that we can continue to raise awareness around drug-free living and healthy lifestyles, especially for our youth. That's all I have. Nothing else there. Our next, I guess we'll have public comment. Anybody second public comment?
I would just like to. I'd just like to say, I think this is the first time in a long time it's all unanimous votes up here.
I'd just like to do another shout out to Councilman Martinez for his chili and hot dogs, Nanette and her husband for the sandwiches, and Councilmember Mullins for the drinks. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Do we have a proclamation for Veterans Day next month? Is that something we've done?
Yeah, we don't, and we would come in, I guess, yeah, we would come in
the day before.
Day before.
We should. But I could.
Our next upcoming meetings, we'll have work sessions scheduled for November 4th from 2 to 4 p.m. here in council chambers. Our next regular meeting will be moved from its regular date and time. So this upcoming second Tuesday in November will fall on Veterans Day, so we will be meeting on Monday, November 10th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers. No other business. I'll call meeting adjourned, 8:02 p.m.
Thank you, everybody.